The country bears is the biggest disappointment since my son.
All right, I can't do this. I got to bring somebody else in. I can't do this by myself. So I wanted to do something a little bit different for this edition of the series of my Every Disney Parks movie reviewed series. I still need to catch your name for. I want to do something a little bit different just because I don't think I could actually stomach writing this review by myself and kind of having to go through it all by myself. So I've invited my friend and former roommate Robbie to join us to talk about the Country Bears, not the Country Bear Jamboree, which I keep wanting to call it. Right off the bat, Robbie, I feel like we should get into our own personal history with this ride, or this attraction, I should say. Have you ever done the Country Bear Jamboree? Have you ever sat through it?
I think I've done it once. When my family would go on our vacations to Disney, we were all for the roller coasters and stuff. And so I think one year we decided to do the Country Bear Jamboree just to say we've done it before. And that is my extent.
I myself have never done it. I've never, I know it's a classic attraction. I myself have just never wanted to sit through that. And like I've done a lot of things at Disney. Like I've done like we've gone I don't know how many times growing up. And I always just would rather because we went a lot, but we only went every like every couple of years. All I wanted to do was go on the ride. So I never like had this like want to go watch the Country Bears. And then we went in high school and when I went with choir, I had a bunch of friends who like wanted to go and I think they were serious about going. I don't know. I was already like, I don't want to watch racist bears sing for 90 minutes. And now it's, um it's under renovation or refurbishment. It's supposed to at the time of this recording, it's supposed to open up actually my brother's birthday on July 17th. So we'll see what happens then.
Do you say it's 90 minutes?
The movie is, yeah.
Oh, not the ride.
No, no, the attraction I think is maybe 15 minutes. I'm not sure exactly how long it is.
I think I may have confused the Country Bears Jamboree with the Enchanted Tiki Room.
Okay, that's that's fair.
I've ever done the Country Bears.
You've never done the Country Bears. Okay, so this whole time that you thought we were talking about the Tiki Room, did you watch the right movie?
Yeah, yeah, there were bears.
Let's go through some real quick facts about the Country Bears. So it is 15 minutes long. It's 15:55 to be exact. Currently operating in Tokyo Disneyland and Magic Kingdom. Closed 23 years ago, kind of following the plot of the movie. It closed 23 years ago in Disneyland for the many adventures of Winnie the Pooh, which is funny to me because one bear attraction closing for another. It closed September 9th, 2001. So that was more than a year after the movie came out.
No, movie came out in 2002.
Real? Oh, wait, you're right. Okay. I don't know why I thought this was a 2000 movie. But yeah, so weird similarity that, the whole movie is about the Country Bear Hall closing down, and then Disney actually closed it down in Disneyland. So, and then made way for another bear attraction. So I guess you win some and you lose some. That's also, they closed Mr. Toad's in Florida for Winnie the Pooh. So they just have a history of closing like attractions for Winnie the Pooh, and now they don't even really do anything with him because he's public domain. In Magic Kingdom, it opened up on the original opening date. And then Tokyo Disneyland opened 83. Disneyland opened a year later after Magic Kingdom. So this ride has been around, this attraction's been around for 50 years, basically as long as Disney World has been around. It's amazing that it's lasted this long because it is horrible. Every picture I've seen of it, I've just never understood the appeal of it. I've never wanted to go on it. I've done the Tiki Room. I enjoy the Tiki Room, but I like the Tiki Room because it's like AC and there's a Dole Whip nearby.
Is Country Bears not AC?
I'm sure it's AC, but like you don't have that Dole Whip, and it's also just like Tiki Room at least like it's got the same vibes of like the Polynesian or something. Like it looks like Adventureland and like the Country Bear Jamboree is just kind of boring. I don't know. I don't know how to like really explain my thoughts on why I don't want to do it, but I just don't have any want. Like I don't even think I've watched the video.
Tennessee bag is featured on the line. It sounds just like a guitar. It's only got one string.
Yeah, like I don't I just I couldn't imagine sitting through like 15 minutes of that.
It's
And like
occurred.
the Tiki
I've
Room is not great theater either.
I've done the Hall of Presidents more than I've done the Country Bear Jamboree.
Mhm. Yeah, like the The Hall of Presidents is kind of cool. It's like they're trying to make them look like real people, and then they just take the Hillary Clinton bot and turn it into Trump. There's at least that kind of level of entertainment. But the Country Bear Jamboree, I don't know. I mean, like, really, like, the section of the video where I would go into, like, the history and, like, what happens on the attraction, like, it's really self-explanatory. Like, the bears just play a bunch of songs for you. So I don't really feel the need to, like, really get into it. What do you think of the movie? Like, what were your kind of thoughts overall?
So I think my expectations were like rock bottom. Like I wasn't expecting much.
Hmm.
And then I found myself rather enjoying the film more
Hmm.
so than expected to.
Hmm.
I think there's a handful of reasons why. For one, the story was no surprises. It is the Muppet reboot.
Hmm.
Almost beat Christopher Walken is in the movie. Comes up, I'm astounded, and I also just found almost like the way the entire movie is teasing the audience and being like, "Yeah, you want us to mention how they're bears? We're not gonna do that."
Yeah, there's only like one person who even makes any sort of aspersion towards the fact that like there's just this world where like humans and bears are living in harmony and bears can talk, and it's the brother, and he gets like scarily
Yeah,
racist about it. Like he's doing like to his own brother.
well, like I felt like he seemed like I understood how the brother felt like he was going crazy, and
Yeah.
the fact, like, no, yeah, he is a bear, yeah,
Mhm.
and then it's the same thing with the rest of these animal movies where like only bears are also like humanoid. You see
Yeah.
horses and stuff, and the
Yeah.
chick also like the ruling on how these bears should be clothed is all over the place because very just like normally dressed, but then all of the country bears are in different states of undress, and it's like what is acceptable.
Yeah, I with these kind of movies where it's like there's only one other animal that like can talk in the world, besides humans. I'm always just like, what scientific experiment went wrong? Like, what kind of Planet of the Apes level
Hmm.
experiment or medication happened? And the fact that it's not post-apocalyptic either, where it is just the family is living together, and they won't even like one note that I really like wanted to get across, or one thing that I like really wanted to mention is just how abusive the family is. Like I don't think it's like you have to like kind of think about it because it's not like he's like they're hitting the child or whatever, right? Like it's not on the nose like that, but it is like his brother Dex is like super racist. Like like, he's just like super racist towards his own brother.
And he has freckles, and I don't. I think. Are you serious? That's why you think you're different.
Like he just
Hmm.
cannot stand the fact that his brother is a fucking talking bear. And then you have the parents who are gaslighting this child into thinking that like he's not different and not it's one of those things like I guess it's obviously it's okay. Like people adopt kids all the time and everything, but you should tell your child that they're adopted at some point. This kid's already in, the fourth grade and they haven't told him. It starts to feel like, are they hiding it from him? Like, did they steal him or something from like the woods?
Mom, am I adopted?
Of course not, honey.
Didn't they reveal like they adopted him and he was in like a metal collar with a tracking device on
Yeah.
it?
Yeah. Well, because they have the brother is telling Dak, or excuse me, Barry, he's showing him baby pictures and he pulls out, the baby picture of Dex after he's born. He's obviously, a human, so he's in the hospital or whatever. And then they show Barry the collar, and it's just like if this movie was like, I don't know, smarter, I don't know. Like, if I didn't think that like the people writing this were like kind of dumb or whatever, like I'd be like, dude, you're like on the precipice of like something weird and like, but also like something that's like kind of like social commentary or whatever. But like this is really just a movie where like talking, terrifying, costumed bears play songs. So it's just like this weird, it just leaves me like asking questions about like the whole, like efficacy and ethics of this world that they're living in.
And then you have this like the honey bar, which feels like a bar specifically for bears. But again, there's only one bear in it before the rest of the bears. Like you
Mhm.
don't see other bears other than the specific country bears.
Mhm. it's like they're like trying to say something, which is like interesting, but it's also like they can't really go that far with it. And also, like how much would audiences really have taken that seriously in 2002 with like bears, like, and the bears that look like this too, you know?
Hmm.
Because that's something also I want to mention is I just like the costumes are just like really scary to me.
While I was watching this movie, I forgot that it was made in 2002 because it feels like something from like a decade earlier.
Hmm.
In that aspect, like it makes more sense as a movie that came out in like early 90s as
Yeah.
opposed to 2002.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just because of the recent like animal movies like the live action Lion King, but I really like these bears.
You too.
I I like they were very like emotive. They
Hmm.
were scary at times, especially when like their fangs came out, but I enjoyed watching the bears.
I should mention, like, I prefer this over like the live quote unquote live action Lion King because there is actually like emotion and stuff. I just wish it wasn't so horrifying. Like there are moments where every time like Barry like has like this big like idea, his eyes are just like numb. Like his eyes are there's just nothing there. And he's just like it's like he just like teleports into, he phases through his existence or whatever and to get this like big idea that he's coming up with. And it's just that like that stuff's scary. And them walking people the fact that like I'm just imagining people walking in those costumes because they show a lot of like clip, like it's not like it's like the Muppets, which the Muppets is this whole other awesome thing, right? That people are actually puppeteering. Like people are walking in like these heavy ass costumes, just like with these horrifying faces. And it just the idea of like walking through, I don't know where they filmed, but it looked like Georgia or somewhere, like just walking through Georgia, those poor people. And they also they all got Darth Vader, I think, too, because none of the actors I don't think were in the.
I don't think Haley Joel Osment was in the bear
No, I
suit.
don't think he was in there too. I don't
But
think
like
Diedrich
I love the
Bader.
scene where like it's the long take of Barry just like running down the street.
I wanted to, so I thought it was better than I thought. I don't think it was a good movie at all, but like I definitely would rather rewatch this over like Tower of Terror or even like Mission to Mars I just watched. Like there were jokes that I laughed at. Like I laughed at the cops like consistently throughout
Hmm.
the movie. And what I thought was funny was like Diedrich Bader was a cop and a bear, which was like really like amazing casting.
Officer cheats.
Hammond cheats.
Yeah, we get that all the time.
Who is this guy?
I don't think he had really like gone into voice acting yet, maybe like, because he was in Office Space and everything. I don't know his whole career, but like just the dichotomy of like this like great physical performance from the cop Bader, and then like him playing like the wedding singer Bear was awesome. And one of my favorite jokes I want to shout out is just like they sit down at the diner and like the one cop is I think it's oh God, I looked up his name. Daryl, maybe I think might be his name. Daryl Mitchell, I think. They sit down at the diner. The Bears have just left, and he looks outside the window and he goes, "Something's happening on your 2 o'clock." And like Diedrich Bader looks at his watch and he's like, "How do you know?" Like, what do you mean? How do you like? Totally doesn't get like the placement. Like there were like little jokes like that where I was like, "This. Why didn't you just like try to go for like this like Brady Bunch parody like movie
Well,
the whole time?" Because the stuff that doesn't work for me is the stuff that like the emotional stuff, like the story, like that doesn't work for me at all. The comedy like makes me laugh. Christopher Walken has like no backstory and no reason to hate these bears. And it's awesome. Why didn't they just
well,
do that the whole
yeah.
time? Yeah, but it like at the end,
Hmm.
it doesn't really matter. And like, could you tell me what his backstory is against these bears? Because I didn't really like. I kind of stopped
He
paying attention.
lost a talent show to the Bears.
Okay, like okay, well, you find that out like 10 minutes before they win. Like
Well, I also love the fact that like he trapped these five bears in the cage, and
Mhm.
there's the part where he takes the gun and the like ammunition off of himself, and he
Mhm.
walks into the cave with them, and it's just five bears and this one guy, and they're like, oh no, he's got the upper hand here.
Yeah.
But on top of talking more about the cops,
Yeah.
I really liked that joke. But then in the next scene during the car chase, Diedrich Bader's cop then uses the phrase correctly, and he's like, "Oh, the bear's at the 9 o'clock."
He learned.
Yeah,
Dude.
the mustache thing that again is never really like discussed. It's just he's a cop that wears a fake mustache. Maybe I missed something, but then like the cops just disappeared from the story.
Yeah, I don't remember them like really having.
Did
Well, because
they?
I think they disappeared because Barry goes back home, right?
Well, they set up in his house, and they're like, "We're gonna get him as soon as they call for the ransom," and then that's it. They're like in the house, but then Barry returns and they're just gone.
There were moments like that throughout the movie where I was like, I feel like they kind of just stopped writing because it just made more sense or it was like easier. I was talking about like the emotional aspect of it, where it's like all of a sudden Dex fucking hates his brother, then all of a sudden he's like totally like cool with him and like tells him to come home and that people love him. He's been gone for like a day, and like Dex was just shown to be like yelling about it. So there's just moments throughout the movie where it was just like it just felt like they like forgot or they just didn't feel like writing out the rest of the arc. So that's the other issue is just like arcs that just weren't like fulfilled at all or like jokes that were like set up and then not like the cops just kind of disappearing.
I very quickly forgot there was a girl bear. But she joins the club and then like she's just kind of in the background for the rest of the film.
Yeah.
They also gloss over the fact that they like assaulted and then kidnapped Ted Betterhead from his
Yeah, they just gloss over that kind of stuff. Ted Betterhead like becomes like a wedding singer. So the whole crux of the movie is Bear Hall is, they're like 20,000 deep in the hole with the bank, which is crazy because they haven't had a show in like 6 years. So the fact that it's only 20,000 is amazing, even in 2002. So they go, Barry, our protagonist, tries to go and get everybody together. And they go to Ted Betterhead, who is like, is he the lead singer? Or he's got to be the lead singer, right?
That's what it seemed like.
Yeah. So he's a wedding singer, which you don't find out. Everybody thinks he's like super famous or whatever, and then you find out at like the end of the scene that he's a wedding singer, which is so funny because it's like if he was actually famous, you probably would have heard about him in the news, and everybody's like so surprised. Even for 2002, like everybody's so surprised. It's like you would have heard him already, right? Like you would have heard about him. He's renting a room from Elton John somehow by being a wedding singer in like LA or something.
Also, yeah, just Elton John is there.
He shows up. He just says hi, and then like the whole joke is that it's Elton John.
Well, yeah, he was about to tell the Country Bears that he was Elton John.
Yeah. So Ted Betterhead goes up on stage. He like sings like a couple lyrics, and then he completely stops because the Bears have walked over. Because he was trying to hide. He was trying to hide that he was a wedding singer. He's like, I got places to be, and he's just like goes to the other room, which apparently he thought was enough space for them to not find out that he was a wedding singer. But then he goes into the other room and he starts singing. He sings like a few lyrics, and then one of the Bears comes over and they're like, "You're family. You're coming with us." And then he's like he's giving this like whole emotional speech, and he says that, and then he punches him right in the face, like cold clocks him, and he's just out. And they take him on the bus and then force him to be part of the band, even though he said he didn't want to. So just a lot of great lessons being taught to young kids in this movie.
I liked the song he's singing is "It's Not Unusual to Be Loved," and so he's singing his little song, and then he sees his brother, and he stops singing. He just says the next line, which is "I want to die."
See, like that, there's like funny stuff in this movie.
Oh, it was very funny in this like absurd like like the fact that the mom is just baking pies.
Yeah. That's one of my favorite lines in the whole movie. She's like, here's I made up a little nibble, and she stacks like this like 50-pound tray of just all of these different sweets, and she's like, oh, I bake I bake when I'm stressed out or whatever. And it's just like, dude, it's so fun. Like little nibble, and then it's just like this gigantic tray. Like stuff like that really worked for me.
And then they both just like dig in. It's like, yeah.
I mean, I would have. It looked all looked good. One thing I want to mention is just that like I think I hate Barry, to be honest. Like I don't like him very much. Like our main protagonist. There's no reason for him to like, other than the movie needing to happen, which, whatever. like for him to be like, oh, am I adopted? Like there's no sort of like setup. You don't a lot of my other issue with the movie is like there's all these people and characters that we meet, and it's like, why do we care about them? Like, why should we care about Christopher Walken other than the fact that he's Christopher Walken? Or, the chick who sings in the diner, it's like, why is she singing and not the bears? Like these people that like just kind of show up. And like Barry's our main character, right? And so we should know the most about him. And we get like a little bit of a montage in the beginning, or just a lot of like memory stuff, but there's nothing about Barry. And then all of a sudden Barry is just like sitting at the table and he's like, am I adopted? Which is very funny because they cut to the family. But like, why is he thinking about that today? He gets in like one little fight, you know, and he leaves. And then he goes to Bear Hall and he's like, higher purpose. I have some people have a higher purpose. And it's like, where the fuck did you get that, dude? Why are you that self-important that you think your higher purpose is like getting the bears back together? Also, where are you getting this higher purpose theme? And then like that theme doesn't even really, he like says it twice, and then it doesn't emanate to the rest of the movie. Like nobody else has this like whole thing where it's like, I'm trying to figure out what I'm doing. Like I guess the whole thing is like, oh, like, we're the bears, we should be playing together. But it's like they're playing together not because they want to, but because they want to save the hall, and not because of a higher purpose. And then just Barry just being like, oh, I have an idea. It's like, why is he's the only person who thought to get the band back together. He's the only person who thought to like play a show to like at one point they go to Queen Latifah's bar for some reason. And one of the guys is like super deep in the hole. One of the bears is super deep in the hole with her. And so they play this like nonsensical show where like this they have to the guy, I think it's Zed or whatever, has to play his fiddle against this guitar, and it doesn't make any sense as to how like that would pay off anything. I don't like Barry at all. I thought he was really annoying.
Yeah, I mean, like again, the comparisons with the Muppets. He's not Walter. Walter is similar. I don't think they ever discuss like the adoption thing in
No.
that movie. I think
No.
it's just
Well, there's no parents there, right?
no, yeah, just they are the same. I don't know, but they're very similar character wise. But I
Mhm.
feel like Walter actually like goes through an arc, and then when he becomes a country bear or when he becomes a Muppet at the end, it's like much more satisfying because it is him living the dream.
Mhm.
I think Barry ever dreamed of becoming a country bear. It just and like I don't think he ever shows any musical talent at any point in the film until they just hand him a guitar at the end.
He plays the guitar when he first visits Country Bear
Oh,
Hall in the beginning, but not very well. He's like singing.
it's just
He's
that's
not very
all.
loud. And then all of a sudden one of the bears comes out and is like, "Oh my God," that like basically like is the driving force behind that bear wanting to get the band back together. But it is just like, and then all of a sudden at the end he's like joining the band, but it's like these guys are all like, to me they all seem like they're in their 40s or 50s. I don't really know like how old they are, but like they seemed like they were a band that was big a while ago, had a falling off point, and haven't really been around since. And then they invite this fourth grader to like join the band or whatever, after he's already left and gone home because of literally one little Barry apparently just can't like handle conflict, because he gets in like one little, not even a fight with his brother, and he leaves, and then the bears get into like an argument and he's like, I'm going home, and but
Yeah,
he's in the fourth grade, why should he put up with the conflict, I guess, but then they invite him to join the band after, and it's like, does he even know the set list? Just, I don't know. I did not like him. Christopher Walken though was the MVP for me easily.
yes, the music was also pretty good.
I like the music. I don't think that the music like tended to be a little bit forced to me and like kind of obvious, but I did enjoy the actual songs themselves and the energy that it kind of gave the film.
And it's not my style of music, and yet I was like, I dig this. Yeah, I'm listening to this song.
Yeah, like it's one of those things, I can't believe like people like actually hate musicals, and there's that whole story about like Warner Brothers trying to like hide that Wonka was a musical and everything. And it's like,
Hmm.
dude, in a bad movie, like if there's music happening, if there's like a musical scene or whatever, it instantly makes that like movie better for me, just because it's like a little bit more energy than maybe you would have gotten. Again, like sometimes I was like, I don't know why the Bears aren't just singing the whole song like the whole time.
The one thing with the music, you talked a little bit about that diner scene where the waitress starts and like it's this whole musical number. Is
Yeah.
that the only like spontaneous dance number in the entire? Because like the rest of them, the songs that I remember are like, the Country Bears performing and
Mhm.
stuff. Like that's the only time where it gets a little bit into just musical theater magic of like everyone's
Yeah.
doing the choreography and we've got the chefs playing the percussion and like
Mhm.
it was the different vibe from the rest of the music.
Yeah, it was fun. It was. I don't understand.
No,
Like,
the rules of this world are vague and slightly
Mhm.
non-existent. I dig that. I think it's fun. You can't put too many rules in. Just
Mhm.
let stuff happen.
Yeah, I mean, this is a movie about the country bears that like probably shouldn't have like even happened. Like, I was reading like somebody in the company like went to Disneyland one time, which is crazy because it's like, was that your first time? You work for Disney and like this is your first time going or whatever. And they went to like they did like the country bears of all things, and they were like, this should be a movie. And like that was the whole idea for the film. Like that was the whole idea. And so it's like it's a very paper thin movie, and like you said the rules are vague. I wasn't expecting like like this super hardcore, cinematic film or whatever. But I enjoyed the fun aspects, like the musicals and stuff. I wish they would have gone further with the absurdity stuff instead of like, I understand that they wanted to make it a family film, but I feel like that stuff just wasn't written as well. And then like, they really needed like two or three more, like, it feels like we were reading like the third script out of six or something. You know what I mean? Like it's like, that's what's maddening and like why I'm kind of disappointed with it. It's like, I can't believe I'm saying this about a Country Bears movie, but like I think it was almost there.
This is like one or two script revisions from being away from like a certified cult classic, I feel.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like this is so close to being something that people would like actually want to throw on and like talk about and everything. The only person I've ever seen talk about this movie is the nostalgia critic. Like that's the only person that like I've ever really like, that's the only reason why I even knew this movie existed was because of him. Part of Disney Plus's marketing
No,
campaign,
yeah, they don't advertise it.
they don't advertise that the country, you can watch the Country Bears on their app or whatever. So it's just like this super forgotten, film like that people just don't really talk about or even bring up when people talk because I'm on the Disney World subreddits and everything and Disney parks and people talk about movies on there all the time. Like people would talk about like Tower of Terror and stuff, even though I titled my video, the movie that like everybody forgot or whatever. Like people were like, "Oh, I remember watching this." Like they used to air that stuff on like ABC and Disney Channel all the time. But like I don't think Country Bears like ever really like got into syndication.
I wonder why.
Yeah. I think the reviews like I think it's got like a 29% on Rotten Tomatoes. And it's if you read the reviews, like it just, it really sounds like people just fucking hated it.
Mhm.
And I don't think it has like that cult classic sort of feel to it. Like I do feel like it does feel a little bit corporate-y. Like it does feel a little bit too clean, even though we're making fun of the costumes and everything and some of the jokes. Like it just kind of feels like too tired and everything. There's just like an aspect where it's like it doesn't go as far as it should have. And if it went farther, it probably would have been remembered better. But they play it a little bit too safe and they also don't write characters very well. So yeah, do you have anything else to kind of add?
I can't say it as good or bad, but it's just like weird is the best way to describe it.
Hmm.
That it exists, weird that it exists in this form.
Hmm.
That out of all the routes they could have taken to make a Country Bears movie, they do this.
Yeah.
I mean, this is one of those movies that I never would have watched without a reason.
Yeah.
I'm glad I had a reason. Like I don't regret the 90. If it was any longer than 90 minutes, it
Yeah.
would have been looked at less favorably.
Hmm.
But like,
It goes quick,
yeah,
surprisingly.
and thankfully it goes quick because like there are the only surprise for me was the like out of the blue the bears have been kidnapped by Christopher Walken. Like that was the only like tangent to the getting the band back together story that
Yeah.
we all knew was going to happen. And I
Mhm.
was thankful for that and the ensuing car chase and like that was a little bit unexpected. I liked the sped up bus footage
Yeah, that was like
walking
ridiculous.
over it.
Made no sense.
Just like the sudden style shift in that one. I mean, yeah, I'm not gonna recommend it to anyone, and I'm not going to rewatch it anytime soon. I
Yeah,
might listen
I couldn't
again.
recommend this one at all. I think maybe if you were looking to like have a nice night, maybe, like a certain, with a certain substance, maybe you could.
I don't feel like this movie is quite there enough for it to be like a fun watch with your friends after some drinks movie. Like it's not quite weird or dumb enough to make that worth it,
Mm-hmm.
but it could like it's close.
Yeah, it's very close. I think you could do that by yourself, maybe if you have some sort of, if you have like some sort of affinity for the Bears or, whatever, like you just want to watch a dumb movie, but it definitely isn't like The Room.
No, yeah.
It's not that kind of badness. It's so good. Like it's not so bad that it's good. Like it really is just kind of, for me, it's just missed potential. That's what it is. And there's like five good jokes in it. I'm not gonna really ever rewatch this again, but if somebody was like looking for something that they could just like literally put on while they like, do something, I don't know, whatever you want to do. Like I couldn't recommend it to you, but like it won't terrify you, I don't think. I think you'll just get a kick out of like laughing at the Bears.
If anything, I might re-listen to some of the songs and I might look for just like Country Bears, but only when Christopher Walken is on screen or like something like that.
My favorite, and this is something Nostalgia Critic made fun of in his review, but my favorite line reading possibly ever is just the his when he's like getting taken away at the end, which is great. Like it's so funny because I don't even know, who knows if they've even made their quota for like paying off the bank. He very well could have, just started Demolition tomorrow, because I don't think anybody, like we don't hear about like how, them actually saving the bank, or saving the Bear Hall or whatever. But he's being pulled away at the end and he's like, "This is not over. Period. Bears." Like it's like this, so it's like he like remembers like halfway through who he's yelling at. That's one of my favorite line readings ever. And it really is like where I found like most of my joy was just him talking and like just getting mad at these bears and everything. Yeah, for the most part, like I couldn't recommend this to somebody, especially because it's like, if you're gonna watch a Disney Parks movie, Pirates of the Caribbean is next on the list. That's what I'm covering next after this. So just watch that. Like that's so much better. It's like an actual film.
Yeah. Well, other thing with Christopher Walken is the one scene when he's in his office
Mhm.
and all he's doing is crushing a tiny replica of the Country Bear Hall with giant weight suspended above
Yeah.
his desk.
It's such a good bit. It's so stupid. Like we talked about that the whole time. The absurd comedy is like the best part of the movie.
Weirdly, the humans are more cartoony than the bears. I'm sure that probably wasn't on purpose, but maybe it was.
Mhm.
Maybe this is a world where the bears are the normal ones and the humans are I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. It is weird how like, because like when the Muppets are in the movie, like they get to be like the fun one. Like that's their whole job, is getting to be like the fun characters. Jason Segel is kind of the straight man. As straight, you can play it as straight as like somebody in that world can really play it. But the Muppets get to be like the zany, wacky characters, and in this one it's switched, which is interesting because we've been talking, bringing up the Muppets 2011 comparisons the whole time, where it's like it's just like it's the same kind of plot, but like there's not really like, I mean, the whole last third of the Muppets movie too is saving Muppet Theater, and we only get that for like 5 minutes in this one.
Credits.
Yeah, it totally doesn't like pay off in any way. Like the whole movie just like feels like it's like racing to get over. And the Muppets really, yeah, I think the Muppets is probably the similar amount of time. Like, I can't imagine it's like anywhere over 2 hours. I haven't watched it in forever, but like it really takes its time and it sets up, and like really like you get to know these characters in the short amount of time you're with them.
Well, and the thing with the Muppets is in that one you get to see most of the show, which is like what the entire film's been leading up to, and what the Muppets are known for is the Muppet Show.
Mhm.
Same thing with is like these bears are known for their Jamboree, and you don't get to see much of the Jamboree,
Yeah,
which is the entire
is.
film has been building for.
Yeah, it's funny because it's like it's the same setup of getting the band back together and going on a road trip and stuff, but then like you just don't get that like actual band together, until you get like 5 minutes of it. I don't know. I mean, the Muppets is just like such a great triumph. I can't believe like Muppets 2011 got made. Like it's one of those things where it's just like, especially with like Disney nowadays, it's like I can't believe they didn't just, I don't know, like turn it into some sort of, I don't know. I don't know what they would do to it, but like the Muppets doesn't get made anymore, so it's amazing that that got made in the first place, right? You know, and it's just funny that these movies are so similar. But my last question, because I feel like we're wrapping up here, and we had this running joke for a while when we were roommates about you wanting to eat random characters that we were watching. I remember what was the one character you wanted to eat really bad? Was it the guy from Monsters University?
Yeah.
I think it was one
The
of them, the sticky guy, or not the sticky guy, but like the blubbery guy.
Yeah, I don't
Look at the
remember his name,
picture.
but salmon color, and he had like
Yeah,
5 eyes.
his it was his mom, right? That would like drive the car and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you wanted to eat him really bad, and like just random characters we be watching. Robbie was like, I want to eat him or whatever. Do you want to? Would you want to eat one of the bears? I don't want to say Barry because he's a kid, but maybe like Zed or somebody.
Like I'm sure the bears would taste fine, because like it's just meat.
Hmm.
It's not the same way of just like that intrinsic sense of like that'll taste good, it'll have a nice texture. Like yeah, it's just an animal. But Diedrich Bader's mustache might be a fun little treat.
Like maybe like a nice little like
Like his
dessert.
little, just like flip it open and like chew on one of them. I feel like I'd rather do that than any of the bears. There he is, Squishy. His name's Squishy?
I think that's his nickname. Yeah.
Oh no, it's Scott Squibbles.
Yeah, but I think
That's the
his
dad.
nickname's Squishy. So yeah, you would want to eat him, and you would want to eat like maybe like you'd have Squishy as like your meal, and then this would be your appetizer.
I roll squishy up in the mustache like a little sushi roll.
Hmm. I think that ends our review here of the Country Bears. Robbie, thank you so much for joining me. Yeah, tune in for the next video whenever I do that. I don't know.
Well, it's gonna be like the 22nd anniversary in like a week or so,
Of
maybe of
of
this movie.
Of this movie. Yeah. Well, I wanted to get this up because Country Bears reopens July 17th. So I wanted to get this up, get that SEO, you know, get that
Yeah.
SEO shit. But my last video got copyrighted too, so I kind of want to get a video up quick so I can, keep my page rolling.
Mhm.
Because Constantine Films or whatever wanted to copyright my Mission to Mars video for some fucking reason. So whatever, not even Disney, some random ass company that just copyrights shit. But anyways, thanks for watching. See you later. Bye.
Bye.
All right, y'all. We got through the dreck of the Disney theme park movies. You know what time it is.
Here they come.
Pirates of the Caribbean. The Curse of the Black Pearl.